How does someone with barely any sewing experience make a whole ball gown in just 1 week for a cosplay skit at a brand new anime convention? This year, I went to a new and exciting anime convention called Sekaicon. Sekaicon is a small penguin and sakura themed anime convention on the outskirts of Columbus, Ohio, in a city called Newark. Back in April, my friend Orion and I embarked on our journey, and our destination was the Cherry Valley Hotel.
My eyes are yellow.
Yes. All the way back at Ghibli Fest in August of 2024, Orion and I watched my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, Whisper of the Heart. If you hadn't heard of it, Whisper of the Heart is one of those Ghibli movies that didn't get much attention at the time, but it is beautiful and even more beautifully written. It's a total fever dream, and spoilers ahead, so here's your warning. The basic concept of the movie follows the story of a young writer named Shizuku wandering into an antique shop and becoming inspired by the old man who owned the shop and his peculiar and enchanting doll named the Baron. The scene that we based the skit off of is within the story Shizuku wrote. After seeing the movie, we instantly knew that we had to bring it to life. So fast forward to March of 2025. To do this skit, we were going to need costumes. I was dirt broke. So, to make our cosplays, we made the journey to the thrift store. Within those aisles hid a fantastic king-size 100% cotton sheet set, and I knew I had the perfect fabric. We also found pants and a vest for Orion's Baron costume, which was an absolute win. From there, it was time to get to work. We wrote the script, spliced up the audio, and even sang the main song, which is quite literally a Japanese translation of the song Country Roads. Watch the movie. It makes sense. Kind of. Back at Sekaicon. Absolutely rushing to the rehearsal. It's supposed to start right now. This was our first look at the convention center, and it was beautiful, but more on that later. We headed to the Masquerade room, and I instantly noticed that there was a vamp, which is an absolute accessibility win. A rehearsal on stage is honestly one of the most important parts to being in a masquerade. You get about 10 minutes each to practice your blocking on the stage you're provided. We had worked for the past few weeks to get our blocking set in stone for the masquerade, and I'd say our efforts really paid off. You'll notice my ball gown is able to ruffle and poof even though I'm seated, and might wonder how I did that? Well, truthfully, it's a combination of things. When constructing the gown, I started with a half circle skirt and intentionally made the waistband about 10 inches larger than my actual waist. Normally, circle skirts rely on gravity to create the full and flowy effect, but since I'm seated, I had to work around that. I pleated the fabric only across the front half of the bodice when attaching it. After pleating, the waistband was still about 3 inches too big, which matched the size of the bodice, and I left the ends of the waistband open instead of sewing them together. I then threaded a ribbon through the waistband, which let me cinch the skirt at the waist and adjust how the fabric gathers. This way, the ruffles can be pulled forward and arranged in my lap, helping to create a ball gown shape, even without standing. After the rehearsal, we ran over to the car to finish getting our costumes on. I still have so many pins in my wig. I reached into my suitcase to grab the Baron's bow, but tragedy struck. It wasn't there. I had made a little silly plush bow out of extra fabric and a yellow fabric marker, but the universe was not on our side. It fell out of my bag while I was rushing out of the house in the morning. Thankfully though, Orion had a tie for tomorrow's cosplay that we could use in place of it with a load of safety pins. It turned out pretty good. I finally put my wig on. I already noticed some accessibility concerns with the venue. It is all carpeted and I am in my manual wheels today, and so it's gonna be a little bit hard, but thankfully I have Orion. Between both of us, we make one working person, question mark?
Maybe like one leg?
Oh yeah. There were some cones in the hallway that were totally making it hard to get through. I went ahead to the accessibility services desk. Unfortunately, the courtyard is not paved. That's another thing that I'm a little frustrated about. It is gravel. So as a manual wheelchair user, that makes it really difficult to get around. We headed back to the con center again and got to see it in its full glory. This convention center was beautiful on the inside and on the outside. The Cherry Valley Hotel is fairly large for a hotel, but fairly small for a convention. It had tight hallways, and you had to go through the hotel hallways to get to to and from the dealer's room and the event hall. But the scenery was gorgeous. There was a dark and rich-toned wood across the convention, a fantastical entryway with a grand piano and banisters, and the star of the show, a giant courtyard full of cherry blossoms and a pond crowned with a gazebo. It gives me vibes very similar to Katsukon, which is a DC convention with a gazebo great for photography. The gorgeous architecture— that's not a word. Unfortunately, the historic architecture came with some historic accessibility issues. The accessibility in this con center was seriously lacking. The staff were great. The con itself did the best that they could with what little space they had, but there were steps I couldn't get up and tight hallways made my manual chair hard to navigate. The only reason I could move around at all was thanks to A, Orion pushing me, and B, my wheelie skills. Outdoors are basically inaccessible otherwise. I love this convention center for how pretty it is, but if I were to have any less mobility, it would have been a no-go for the hallways alone.
Very important purchases being made.
The vendor hall and artist alley were packed with a bunch of awesome finds, including a booth that was packed with Love Live and Bandori. Eventually, Orion and I gave up trying to navigate indoors and started using the parking lot exclusively to get from one side of the con to the other. The carpeted hallways were just way too much. We made it to a super fun panel, which was a 20-minute cosplay creation challenge and helped a little kid transform into Sonic, but we do not film children, so have Oscar instead. Immediately after this panel, it was time for the Masquerade.
It is so hot and stuffy in this room.
I'm going to toast like a hot pocket. It was our moment. I was shaking. Orion was probably shaking. The floor was probably shaking. The room only seated like 100 audience members, so it was packed wall to wall. There were so many people that got turned away because the room was far too small. We were fairly close to the end of the performer lineup since I had to compete in advance, even though this was Orion's very first masquerade, and everyone did incredible. Huge shout out to anyone who used a mic because the feedback was crazy. My friends Gray and Ray gave fantastic performances even with those issues. Another shout out to my cool new friend Cryptice, or Crypticy, I'm sorry, I might be getting that so wrong, who did a super cool skit with amazing acting and an awesome audio.
I also just have to absolutely gush about my friend Commander Cause's Has-Been Hotel skit. The entire thing was so well choreographed and the acting was on point.
And then it was our turn. The skit went beautifully. Orion said he tripped, but nobody noticed, including me. And my dress kind of flipped up, revealing my petticoat while we danced, but honestly, it looked cool and it's kind of a fashion statement. We had an amazing time performing, and the masquerade continued to the cosplay walk-on. I love this part. You can tell that each and every cosplay was crafted with the blood, sweat, and tears of absolute determination. I know from learning to sew that making something seamless is no walk in the park, and the attention to detail found in each cosplay is so cool to see. I had a little tiny bit of trouble focusing because I was really nervous. I knew what came next. The judges went up on stage to present the awards. My first competition higher than novice, and Orion's first masquerade. We held our breath for the judges award, the novice award, but
Best Advanced Performance. Give me the lead and soda. Oh my god!
we won. I am still a little in shock and disbelief. It was my first acting skit, and I feel so proud. I'm so proud of Orion for pushing through their fears and making it on stage, and I cannot wait to do more skits together. Finished out our night with what we decided was our triumphant karaoke.
We just did karaoke and we won the Masquerade!
Best in advance.
Best in advance! We've kind of had a sec to process because it's been over an hour. We went to karaoke and that was fun. But now we are going, not back to, we're going to the hotel.
Yeah, we haven't even been there
We haven't even been there yet.
We're only staying one night.
Today's been insane. I'm exhausted. It's been a very long one.
And headed to our hotel.
Got into our hotel room. I went ahead and took my little costume off, but I did notice, because I was in my manual wheelchair while I was using it, there's a bunch of little dirt stains on it. So that's really fun. And I'm gonna have fun getting those out. This is the 4th Best In award that I've won, which is crazy. 4 is insane.
to have some microwave noodles and absolutely crash after our physically and emotionally draining day. The next morning we awoke.
We are all dressed and ready. I'm not gonna put my wig on until we actually get to the con. We won this shit and we are gonna go and have a really awesome, super fun, jam-packed con day because we weren't here Friday, so we have a lot to do. A lot of shopping to make up on.
And I got an absolute giant latte to power myself up. The weather was freaking gorgeous.
We got here almost 45 minutes early, literally just so that we could get an accessible space.
One of the five accessible parking spots. That includes the hotel. Sunday, I got to be my favorite character of all time, which is Sekaicon. Wait. I have a gift. Fun fact. She's actually from a game called Project Sekai, which is literally perfect for Sekaicon.
We are back in the courtyard and look at how gorgeous everything looks. It's before the convention starts.
And I also found some tiny blue crabs having a little dance party, which was so cute, but not to be confused with the actual wildlife. There were ducks in the pond.
Look at the ducks. What preciousness.
You gotta go on the hunt. I need ribbons, guys. I need them. I have 7. I need 20.
Yeah! So we just went to critique. Basically, they literally just said, you need to cheat out where you have to face the audience. They basically said that our audio was amazing and that our acting was amazing and that our facial expressions were amazing.
Yeah, we did good on what they said. There was little feedback on the mic. We did good controlling like the bass in our audio too. Just make sure to control and balance your levels in your audios. They complimented our timing. We asked about that and they said, no, the timing looked great.
Yeah, I know. I'm so happy with how everything went.
I love your side.
Thank you so much. Oh my god. Judging went great. Now we are in the vendor hall. And we're gonna get ribbons.
The ribbon meetup was that day, and we got absolute stacks on stacks on stacks of ribbons. If you don't know, cosplay ribbons are fan and sometimes staff-made little stickers that hang off of your badge, and most of the time you have to answer a question or do a little challenge based on the theme of the ribbon to receive it. The goal was to get at least 20, and Orion and I were both able to easily surpass that and got a super special metal ribbon. The con also included a really fun arcade with machines that you would think are total scams but are actually totally winnable.
He's coming home though. He came home. Yay!
Orion got 4 My Hero plushies and also got me a frog with a cowboy hat. It was just swinging around for like 5 minutes and then it fell on the floor after we had played it. I love frogs. I am a collector of all things frog themed and even plan to own them in the future when I can hopefully afford to have frogs and also leave my parents' home. I digress. So Sunday was short, and to cap off our trip, we made a round across the dealer's hall and I was able to get a ton of stickers and even get enough to finally finish off my water bottle. We got the chance to chat with a lovely dealer called Beeftopia, who I was able to have a conversation over accessibility with.
Really frustrating because I feel like at anime conventions, it draws in a larger disabled crowd. And when there's a larger disabled crowd, you need to have parking for as many disabled people as you're able to.
Completely negates anyone who's just coming to the con. We originally only wanted to get here like a half hour.
Sure, but like you can't risk it. Like if you ever get a chair out of your car.
And that's the reason the handicapped spaces
Are wide.
open area.
I also love your Dr. Pepper.
It was finally time to say goodbye to this con.
And I ain't doing nothing.
The first year of Sekaicon in the books, and I got to experience it with my best friend. Every con I get to go to, I'm reminded of how lucky I truly am. I get to perform, connect, and be here with the people that I care about. What more could I ask for? Something new and exciting is dawning. Find out in my next video, which you cannot miss. But until then, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know you want to see more. It really helps out the channel. If you want updates sooner, keep your eyes on my Instagram. By the way, thank you so much for 10,000 followers on Instagram. I'm so grateful. Until next time, Leefy out.